I recently read a quote that said, renting is a better way to build wealth than buying. So I wanted to comment on that. The big argument there, I guess, from the person who said that was that rent costs less than a mortgage payment. And while in many cases that is true, it's not 100% of cases. You know, it really truly depends on your location, it depends on the condition of the property, and it depends on the property type. So there are ways to be strategic in your home purchase, especially if you're flexible, so that you can bring that mortgage payment down to what is comfortable and what is affordable, and possibly even a little bit less than what you might pay in rent. All right, point number 2 is that the argument was that the money that you save in rent, you can apply in another type of investment. And honestly, I would recommend that, period. So say, for example, your rent is $1,800 a month, and a comparable home with a mortgage payment maybe is $2,300 a month. You're going to take that $500 and you're going to put it in some type of an investment. So that's great, but the question is, are you absolutely going to do that? You know, you really have to commit to that. Versus, you know, taking that money and using it for luxury items, or, you know, I just need this or I just need that, I have to update my wardrobe. Okay, so you have to be really committed to do something like that. In addition to being committed, you also need to make sure that wherever you put that money, that there is investment potential there. Okay, you want to have some return on investment for those funds. So first commit, and then have your return on investment. Okay, so point number 3, taking a little bit of a different tactic. When you buy a home, you are actually paying for an investment. You know, you're going to be really committed and motivated to pay that mortgage because you want to keep a roof over your head and you want to keep your house. You know, whereas when we talked about point number 2, where you have to really make a conscious effort to put those savings that you realize, which was really the difference between a rental payment and a mortgage payment, to make a commitment to put that into some type of investment vehicle with a return on investment. But this time when you buy a house and you're paying your mortgage, you are paying for an investment because you're building equity. And over the long term, you are, especially when you go to resell, you are going to realize that wealth because of that hard work of paying for that mortgage. So my point 4 as to why maybe renting isn't the best way to build wealth versus buying is that rents continue to rise. And I've talked about this numerous times in my past videos. So think about that. Your landlord, at least in the state of Rhode Island, can increase your rent, you know, at the time of renewal for whatever reason he or she pleases. So say, for example, they increase 5% one year, you know, 3% the next, and 2% after that. You're talking about a 10% increase, which you're not going to get that with a fixed mortgage rate. You know, your mortgage is your mortgage, so your cost per month isn't going to really change except for, you know, taxes and insurance. If those two things rise, you'll see a little bump up, but you're certainly not going to see a 10% bump up. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's something that I like to hit home, and I hope that's just making sense to you. Okay, so point number 5, which is the best point at all, eventually you will be done paying your mortgage and you will have nothing to pay per month. And there is no landlord in the world that is going to say, oh, you know, you've been here for 30 years, you don't have to pay anymore. So your mortgage will be done, and you will have more flexibility to enjoy your life, enjoy your retirement, or to sell that home and realize that nest egg. So on that note, those are my 5 things to consider. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to reach out if you'd like to start a conversation. I'm Maureen Harton-Beebe. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Thank you.